Hello boys, hope you revised the lesson and the topics that I had taken up in my previous class of civics of class 10, that is chapter number 1, Union Legislature. We were doing the powers of the speaker, and now we come to the advantages of Lok Sabha. That's on page number 12. If you have the book, open the page, and if you do not have the book, please take a notebook and note down as I teach and as I tell you some of the important questions and topics or points that can be asked in ICSE. So welcome back to the civics class of class 10, and we continue with the Union Legislature, and the topic that we do today is advantages of Lok Sabha. The first advantage of Lok Sabha is called the House of the People. That is, it is a house that is directly elected by the people. The people of India, or under the system of universal adult franchise, that is the people of India who attain the age of 18 have the right to vote, and they elect their representatives to the Lok Sabha. So that is considered as one of the advantages of Lok Sabha. And Lok Sabha has representatives from all religions, castes, regions, and it can also be called as the mirror and voice of the nation. The next point that has been given is the numerical strength of the Lok Sabha. If you remember, we had done the composition of the Lok Sabha as well as the Raj Sabha, and the maximum strength of the Lok Sabha is 545/552. You can choose any of these two numbers. At present, we have 545 members, and the other side, the Raj Sabha, has 250 members. So obviously, Lok Sabha has more members than the Raj Sabha. So the numerical strength of the house makes it have an advantageous position as compared to the Raj Sabha. That's another point. Then, in the elections of the President, the Vice President of India, in the impeachment of the President, the Vice President, the judges of the High Courts and the Supreme Court, it is always the Lok Sabha that has an upper hand. Why? Because it has more members than the Raj Sabha. The third point or the fourth point will be that in financial matters, the Lok Sabha also has an upper hand. Why? Because all money bills originate only in the Lok Sabha. They never originate in the Raj Sabha. If you remember, the bills are sent no doubt to the Raj Sabha. The Raj Sabha is given a time period of 14 days. That word number 14 is very important, and it has to give its approval within those 14 days. Otherwise, if those 14 days pass, the bill is deemed to have been passed by the Lok Sabha. So in financial matters, also the Lok Sabha has an upper hand. The next point is, the no confidence motion. The no confidence motion, if passed in the Lok Sabha against a minister or the Council of Ministers, the government resigns. Even if it is against one minister, the whole Council of Ministers resigns. So this is also one important point that makes Lok Sabha have an advantageous position rather than the Raj Sabha. If this happens in the Raj Sabha, the ministers will not resign. So these are some of the points that you have just been taught about the advantage or the advantages of Lok Sabha. They are, first, a directly elected house. It's a mirror and voice of the nation with all caste, creed, regions represented in it. It has a numerical strength, greater numerical strength. It has an upper hand because of the numerical strength in the elections of the dignitaries, plus the impeachment of the President, the Vice President, the judges of the Supreme and the High Courts. Then all money matters are having more importance in the Lok Sabha because all money bills originate in the Lok Sabha. Then the last point that we have discussed is the no confidence motion, where if the members of the Lok Sabha pass a no confidence motion against one minister, the full ministry resigns. So this is a revision of the advantages of the Lok Sabha. Then we come to the Raj Sabha. The Rajya Sabha is called the Council of States. It has maximum strength as 250 and it has 12 members nominated by the President of India. Those people who are shy of contesting elections to the Lok Sabha are and have excelled in a certain field like sports, films, social work, any intelligent, or you can say any field with special knowledge in that field, or has a practical experience on matters like literature, or in matters like literature, science, art and social service, they can be nominated by the President of India to the Rajya Sabha. So they are 12 in number. Then the same point comes, how many members do the states send to the Rajya Sabha? The key point in that is the population. The population of a state decides how many members will be elected to the Rajya Sabha. The next point that comes is the elections to the Rajya Sabha. Who elects? The next question can be, who elects the members to the Rajya Sabha? You can note down that question. Who elects members to the Rajya Sabha? The members to the Rajya Sabha are elected by the members of the legislative assemblies of the states. That is your answer. By means of a single transferable vote. Now comes the qualifications. We have already done the qualifications of Lok Sabha. So I would just tell you that only one difference in the qualification is there, and that is the age. For Lok Sabha you have 25 and for Rajya Sabha you have 30. So you learn it once and you just pay more attention to the one and only point, and that is the age. 25 for Lok Sabha and 30. But the rest of the qualifications remain the same. Whether it is for qualifications, whether it is for disqualifications, they are just the same. So you learn it once and you can use it for both the houses. Then comes the term of the house. The normal term of the Rajya Sabha is 6 years. But it is a permanent house. Why is it a permanent house? That you can be asked. Why is Rajya Sabha called a permanent house? The answer to that is that the Rajya Sabha is a permanent house because it is never dissolved fully by the President of India. Only 1/3 of its members retire every second year. So that is the answer to the question, why is the Rajya Sabha called a permanent house? Now next question is, who is the presiding officer of the Rajya Sabha? Or you can be asked, who is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha? The answer is the Vice President of India. He is the ex officio chairman. Why? Because he is not a member of the Rajya Sabha, but he is qualified to be a member of the Rajya Sabha. The rest of the powers and functions of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha is same as those of the speaker of the Lok Sabha. So you can use those functions for both the chairman as well as for the speaker. We know that the chairman, like the speaker, has a right to vote. But when does he vote? When there is a tie. And that power is called as the casting vote. The right of casting vote. Cast means to vote. And when does the chairman of the house vote? When there is a tie. When the votes for and against are equal. Next comes the term quorum. We have already discussed that. Quorum means 1/10 of the members are to be present to transact business in the house. It will be 55 for Lok Sabha and 25 for Rajya Sabha. The other answer to that is the minimum strength required to be present in the house to transact business is called as quorum. Then comes the powers and functions of the Rajya Sabha. In that we have the first heading as legislative powers. Rajya Sabha has no co-equal powers with the Lok Sabha related to money matters. Only money bills can be introduced where? In the Lok Sabha. It can reject it, accept it, not accept it within the time period, that is the 14 days. Administrative powers, it has no administrative powers to control the ministry. We know that the Council of Ministers is responsible to the Lok Sabha. If it is a no confidence motion is passed in the Lok Sabha, their ministry has to resign, but it is not happening in the Raj Sabha. Then financial matters, we know that money matters, the Lok Sabha has an upper hand. The Raj Sabha is only given the option to pass the money bills within 14 days, and if it does not pass it and it is not passed or rejected or not approved by the Raj Sabha and the 14 days period is passed, then the bill is deemed to have been passed by the Lok Sabha. Constitutional powers. Raj Sabha has got equal rights with the Lok Sabha in terms of amending the constitution. Both houses have an equal role to play in the amendment of the constitution. Amendment means bring changes in the constitution. We know that both the houses, the members, 2/3 members have to be present and voting for any amendment to the constitution. The other functions where both the houses have co-equal powers, same powers or both have powers are when they elect the president and the vice president, when they impeach the president of India, when they impeach the Supreme Court and the High Court judges. So these are the various points for the legislative where you have no power in money bills. Then you have administrative, no power in no confidence motion. They cannot make the ministry resign. Financial matters, you know the Lok Sabha has more power. The money bill comes up there. The 14 days time is given to the Raj Sabha for passing. If not passed also, the bill is accepted to be passed. And in constitutional matters, both the houses have equal powers. That is for amendment of the constitution, for election of the president, the vice president, for the impeachment of the president or vice president, and for the impeachment of the Supreme Court and the High Court judges. So we have done all the powers of the Raj Sabha, and now we come to the special powers of the Raj Sabha. We know that the Raj Sabha can legislate on subjects that are mentioned in the state list when it feels that a subject has national importance. Then it can legislate on that subject of state list. If in the Raj Sabha a 2/3 majority passes a resolution to create an all India service, it can be done by the Raj Sabha. And during emergency, when the Lok Sabha is dissolved, all the responsibilities of the parliament are shouldered by the Raj Sabha. So it shoulders all the responsibilities of the parliament when the Lok Sabha is dissolved. Next point can be that it checks hasty decisions of the Lok Sabha. It can check the hasty decisions of the Lok Sabha. So here we end with the separate powers of the Lok Sabha, the advantages of the Lok Sabha, and then the composition of the Raj Sabha, its elections, its chairman, its qualifications, and then its powers under various headings. So let us stop here for the time being, and then I will take up with you the next topic, and that is the powers and functions of the parliament. For the time being, you can have a look at these topics that were taught by me today, and if you can, you look at the questions at the back of the lesson connected to these topics, and you can write the answers to these questions in a notebook and keep it for the classes when they resume after the lockdown. Thank you.